Welcome to International Securities Exchange's podcast series. Facilitated by renowned educators, ISE podcasts are intended to teach beginning as well as seasoned investors the ins and outs of trading. To find an updated list of podcasts, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts. Please be sure to listen to our important message following this episode regarding the risks of investing in exchange-traded options.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. This is Elenite Levine from the ISE. We're excited to have with us today Toni Hansen, one of the most respected technical analysts and traders in the industry, with a reputation for high accuracy in both the bull and bear markets. Toni is president and co-founder of the Basket Group and runs the popular tradingfrommmainstreet.com site, as well as her own blog on tonihansen.com. She began her career in trading as an equity swing trader and has since expanded into many other sectors of the market. Her style of trading and market analysis transcends both time as well as market vehicles, making it attractive to investors and traders of stocks, futures, options, ETFs, and even the Forex market. You may have heard of Toni. She's a frequent speaker at trade shows and trading expos and has spoken on behalf of both Townsend Analytics and the Chicago Board of Trade as an active trader of their mini Dow futures contract. She is also a popular columnist on the Hard Right Edge and a repeat contributor to SFO, and has also recently co-authored their newest book, Online Trading. I'm going to hand it over to Toni.
Hey, Elenite. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Do you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Okay, well, today what I'm going to talk about is, I know a lot of you have listened to my previous webinars or even listened to the logs that they have on ise.com. If you just type in ise.com/archives, then it allows you to view all of the previous webinars that ISE has hosted. So not just mine, but a number of other contributors as well. So if you haven't checked out their site, I would highly encourage you to do so, because you're going to find a lot of resources there that you don't find at a lot of other sites. Today, I want to focus on one particular aspect of trading where, for those of you that aren't familiar with my style of trading, I go by a system of market analysis where my patterns and strategies are a development or a combination of different building blocks. So I look at different things or different characteristics that make up price action within a particular pattern. For instance, a lot of people wonder, why does a bull flag work in this particular instance, but if I look at the same 10 days on this other security, the same pattern, it looks almost exactly the same, and yet this one failed while the other one succeeded. Well, what's the difference? It's because there's going to be something within the actual building blocks or creation of that pattern itself that varies from the one that succeeded. And so I look at what are those components that create those price patterns. And one of the things that I'm going to be talking about today is very specifically a focus of that, and it has to deal with momentum or pace. For those of you that are not familiar with ISE's FX options, these are just options on the currency pairs. And so here's a list of the symbols. Notice that the US dollar is the base currency in all of these. So if you're comparing them to the spot market in the FX, what you're going to see is that in some cases they're swapped around, and you have the US dollar as the base currency as opposed to the foreign currency. So here's just a list of the options that ISE has available. For instance, the Australian dollar, its symbol is AUX, and we're going to see some specific charts showing you what these look like. If you go to ise.com/quotes, you can also pull up charts of the ISE options, along with a number of other information regarding those options as well. When we're looking at developing patterns and looking at options for trading basically any security, particularly the FX, you want to look at both price and time objectives. Trading options tends to be a lot more difficult than trading outright securities for a lot of people, because they have to decide, what contracts are they going to be playing, what expiration dates and such. There's a lot more that goes into selecting the right option than merely the fact that, well, you think the AUX is going to go higher or you think it's going to go lower. So you have to be able to time not only the direction, but also get a feel for how fast prices are going to change, as well as the length of time it's going to take for those prices to hit certain price levels. So what we're going to look at is basically an understanding of the underlying price action within any security. Traders are always looking for something new and or improved that is going to help them out with the markets. Although in and of itself, price is not considered an indicator, when you learn how to read price action itself, you're left with the ultimate indication of where prices are most likely to head. So we're not going to be looking at things such as moving averages or Fibonacci or any of those during this presentation. Previous classes that I've given for ISE, as well as on my own website, which is tonihansen.com, go into a couple of my favorite indicators that include things like the Fibonacci series and sequence, as well as using moving averages. Those of you that know me pretty well, though, you know that overall I don't really rely very highly on indicators. I like to look at very simple, straightforward price action to help give me an idea of where the prices are moving to. A problem with people when they rely too heavily on individual indicators is that a lot of times they'll ignore their gut instincts that are attributed to what they're seeing in the price action and rely upon what those indicators are telling them. But for those of you that are familiar with a lot of these indicators, you realize that they don't work all the time. There's certain circumstances that particular indicators work better in than others. Even moving averages, for instance, when you get into sideways, choppy trading ranges, moving averages become less effective as support and resistance levels. One of the purest things that you can look at when you're looking at price action is the pace or the momentum of that price move. Now, when you're looking at pace, it's basically just a measurement of the momentum of a trend move in a security as compared to not only the average move, but also the most recent move on any given time frame. So, for instance, we're looking at, let's say, over the last half hour, a security has been moving higher. Well, how fast has that movement been compared to previous upside and previous downside moves within that security? When I'm looking at pace, I'm just eyeballing it as compared to how it's moved in the past. There's some indicators that you can use that are going to help give you an idea of what momentum is or volatility. But for overall, I just like to make that visual comparison. It just keeps things cleaner. So, for instance, here is a template that I've used in most of the presentations that I've given over the last couple of years when talking about measuring pace and momentum. And I'm going to go over this template again fast for those of you that are new, but I'm also going to show variations of this template and give you an idea of how other ways are that pace or price can form or create different movements within a security.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. To find more podcasts on options, stocks, alternative markets, and market data, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts.